Well, hey there. Merry Christmas. We're so glad that you could join us tonight. And whether it's tonight or sometime over the next couple of days, we hope that you find some encouragement and you enjoy the Christmas music. We were talking, and of course, we waited till the last minute, right? we were talking a couple weeks ago, and I actually think that you and I had talked about posting some of the songs, but I think it was actually Pastor Mike that came up with the idea of us doing some like our own. I wish we had like the VH1 behind the music thing, you know?
Yeah.
But kind of doing a behind the music thing, you know, we were really hoping that we would be able to do the Christmas program again this year, and to be able to add. And for those of you that were here with us at First Baptist Church last year, you know that we wrote our own Christmas musical. And just a little background behind that, I was walking down the hall here at the church.
How many stories start that way?
Yeah.
I was walking down the hall.
Yeah. This one time at church, I was walking down the hall. No, but I was walking down the hall after church, I think it was one day, and or it could have been, I'm not sure what day it was, but I know I was walking down, and Nathan approached me and said, "What do you think about maybe writing our own musical?" Right?
It was like 2 weeks after Easter.
Yeah. And so he asked me, "What do you think about writing our own musical?" And do you remember the look on my face?
It's kind of like this deer in the headlights kind of look.
Yeah. In my
What?
in my mind at the moment when you asked about writing the Christmas musical, there was a hard no. Like it was a hard no for me. I just felt like it was way too big, and I was, and to be honest, I felt like you were saddling me with a lot of work.
Sorry.
We've been in a band for many years, and I generally am the primary songwriter in the band, and then I bring it to Nathan and Mike and Adam Packer when he was playing with us, or whoever's playing bass, and I let them kind of fiddle with it and put some things on top of it. But I do the front end, the front end lifting. And this was going to be even bigger because the plan wasn't just to use the band, but to also use the choir for the church. And I'd never written songs with an intent that, hey, we're going to put choral parts to this and bring it all together into a big church production. And I don't know where your head was with that, but I was horrified. And so I thought we would. I walked away, and I'm pretty sure that in the moment, I don't remember even what I said at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it was like, we'll have to think about that, which is no. Well, I went home and I was thinking about it, and I picked up my guitar, and I played the one Christmas song I had written to that point, which we'll play here tonight, which is Sweet Baby Jesus. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just try it. We'll see what happens. And lo and behold, it came together, you know, in just a matter of, I'm pretty sure that most of the songs that we did for last year's Let There Be Light Christmas musical, most of them were done by June.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I don't think, I mean, we've known each other a long time. Like we go back to high school, and I don't think I've ever, probably since college, or maybe when we worked together at Webster, have I seen you have like such a compacted stretch of productivity as far as music writing. Like it was like every other day you were calling me with like, hey, listen to this, check this out. Yeah. And I mean, it was a really, really exciting time.
Yeah, shout out to Apple for their voice notes.
Yes.
Right. And it really did come together that fast. Like it was a weekly thing. I would send a portion of a track that I was working on, maybe a chorus or a verse or just a concept and some lyrics, and you would look them over and send back, you know, brief thoughts, and I would keep writing, and within a couple of days, most of the songs would come together. And I think, along with what you just said, it wasn't just that I wrote a bunch of songs in close proximity. It's that they all had a connecting theme, and that I'm, in my opinion, none of them were terrible, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
They were reasonably good songs, and so I was pretty excited about that. So we did it. You know, we wrote, and it wasn't without its difficulties, and there weren't. It's not that there weren't moments that we didn't think, hey, we wouldn't get this done, and certainly both of us would say that there are areas where we need to improve upon it, and we would like to, you know, make it more robust. But at the same time, you know, we're just some pastors in southern Indiana
Right.
that put together a 10 song, a 10 song Christmas cantata. Christmas, I think technically it is a cantata because there's no real acting that goes on. There is a dialogue that happens, but it technically is a cantata. It's all telling the story through song. And I mean, Christmas is my jam, right? Like I didn't dress like this for this. I've been wearing this all day.
Right.
So we put the musical together, and we were able to present it last year. And in the absence of a musical this year, we decided that we would share a few of those songs, just a couple. I think 5 we're going to share tonight, and that we would explain the stories behind some of those songs. So we'll go ahead and jump into that, right? The first song that we're gonna share, we're gonna do them in chronological order as far as how they fall in the musical itself. And so the first song that we're gonna start with is "Let There Be Light." And as I was coming to that song, it started with the chorus. And I think at the time I was doing, I think we were preaching. We were doing a series here at the church, and we had touched on Genesis. And I talked about the creation account, and I was really struck at the parallels between the creation narrative with God speaking and there's light, and John chapter 1, a not really popular Christmas biblical narrative where it talks about that he is the light of life. And, you know, that God speaks in life, and the word comes in life. And the reality of creation falling apart because of our actions, and then God creating through his word, us ruining it in the garden, and then God sending his son to restore creation through his work. And that's kind of the thinking that I had. I was picturing the disappointment of Adam and Eve as they failed in the garden, and the ringing of "Let there be light," and the darkness that came through their sin and through their failure, but then God's promise that one day there would be light again, and that he would restore his creation, and he would restore us as humanity through the work of the Savior. So this is "Let There Be Light." We'll play it for you, and I think this is actually one of the songs that I wrote. There's a series of songs in the collection that are the running songs that I would be running around Seymour, and a chorus would come to my head, and sometimes I would stop in the moment, sing it into my phone, and send it to you. And I think this was the first of the running songs. But this is "Let There Be Light."
Let there be light, let it overcome the darkness, let it shine over creation, bringing life. Let there be light, fill the heavens with your wonders, let the glory of your presence fill each eye. If the spark inside their hearts should start to die, let there be light. In the beginning, there was nothing but the void. In the beginning, your spirit dreamed of something more. With the power dances to the sound. As the beauty of your light shines all around. Let there be light. Let it overcome the darkness. Let it shine over creation, bringing light. Let there be light. Fill the heavens with your wonders. Let the glory of your presence fill each eye. If the spark inside the heart should start to die, let there be light. In the beginning, you molded children from the clay. In the beginning, you sustained them by your grace, and you walked with them in friendship in the coolness of the day, and you offered them the gift of lasting life. They would stay inside the safety of your life. Let there be light. Let it overcome the darkness. Let it shine over creation, bringing light. Let there be light. Fill the heavens with your wonders. Let the glory of your presence fill each eye. If the spark inside the heart should start to die, let there be light. They ate the fruit that was forbidden, plucked it from the cursed tree, were persuaded by the serpent that only then could their eyes see. But all the knowledge they discovered brought only darkness to their lives, and with their frailty now uncovered, had no way to make things right. You said there will be light. He will overcome the darkness. He will shine throughout the ages with new life. There will be light. He'll fill the heavens with your wonders. Let the glory of his presence fill each eye. Let there be light. Let it overcome the darkness. Let it shine over creation, bringing light. Let there be light. Fill the heavens with your wonders. Let the glory of your presence fill each eye. If the spark inside the heart should start to die, let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light.
Not bad. Hey, and I do want to thank the guys for coming out, Pastor Nathan, Pastor Mike, and our minister of maintenance, Aaron. They all came out a couple weeks ago. I think we came out and we set up in the sanctuary and played through these songs together. So I thank them for their time and their energy in making the songs come to life. The next song that we went into, I knew that I wanted to start somewhere atypical. So we started with creation. And so we kind of are trying to paint the story, paint the picture. And so we've got We Messed Things Up. And there's actually a song between this next one, the announcement. And we're not going to play that one tonight. But there's like a thematic flow. And I was thinking about the Mary and Joseph story, right? So God sends an angel, Gabriel, to Mary and says, "Hey, Mary, you're going to have a son." And Mary's like, whoa.
Slow down.
slow down. And not possible, Lord, not possible. And God, through the angel tells her, no, Mary, nothing, no word from God will ever be stopped. God can do this. It's not impossible. Impossible with man, not impossible with God. I'm going to take care of this. And, Mary is horrified. I mean, the Bible tells us that she's concerned by the greeting. She's concerned rightly by what he's saying, and she's confused by it. And in the end, she concedes and graciously and gracefully says, "Yeah, I'll do what it is that you want me to do." Are we on the right screen there, Nathan? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's make sure. I can see the little screen bobber, and I normally can't see it. Makes me nervous.
Yeah, red means we're live.
Sweet.
So,
so anyways, I was thinking about that, and then I thought about the Joseph narrative, right? So you've got, and Mary, we're told, is engaged to be, she's promised, she is, there's a pledge that they're going to be married. And the same thing with Joseph, right? Joseph has a dream, and in the dream, he's already decided he's going to put her out quietly, going to divorce her, and he's going to move on because, she's pregnant. It's not his kid. And the story behind it, surely he had to think was insane. And so he's going to move on. And the angel comes and says, no, this is going to be God with us. And you need to stick with her. And Joseph does, right? So I was thinking about that, and we're always like, hey, Mary and Joseph were probably so excited that they were having this new baby. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, probably not.
No.
I can think of a lot of things that God has asked me to do that I not that God clearly spoke to me, not that an angel came, but that I knew that I was supposed to do something, or I was into something that had already begun. And, so often the things that God calls us to aren't convenient, No. God doesn't, I heard someone saying the other day, I wish God would call me to be a millionaire. Yeah, well, don't we all? God doesn't call us to convenient and comfortable things. He calls us to difficult things. And I kept thinking about those two pieces of the story. They're two sides of the same coin, right? And I kept thinking, they were planning for a wedding. They had waited for some time for a wedding. They were hopeful. This is, what a young Jewish woman would have lived for, was to get married and to have a family. And all of a sudden, she finds out that whole plan is being put into jeopardy by the plan of God in her life. And Joseph the same way, right? Like he had this expectation of what was going to happen. He'd lived, the Bible tells us that he was a just man, that he was a righteous man, that he had done what is right. So he'd done all the right things, and he's getting, this, good news. It's going to be of great joy for all people. It's on the front end, not great news for Mary and Joseph per se. And so I was thinking about that. And as I was thinking about it one day, I was holding the guitar, and I kind of had this waltzy, step down lullaby type thing that was going through my head. It kind of went. And I was thinking, what a great song for like a silent night type thing, right? Because we think of that. That's what we picture. That's what I picture in my mind. But and we think of a lullaby as being this, sweet, soothing thing. And I was thinking of the contrast of the story, right? This silent, peaceful night that really has this unpeaceful vibe to it. And so I started writing the lyrics to this next song. It's called Not What I'd Planned. And the truth is that if we look at the Christmas story for Mary and Joseph, it wasn't what they expected, right? It's not possible. It's impossible. It wasn't what they expected. And it surely wasn't what they'd planned. They had other plans that they were moving towards. And this, of all the songs in the musical, is the one that I feel is the most directly applicable to our own lives. That so often what God calls us to, or what God places in our lives, we look at it and we're like, okay, I'll do this, and I'll do it with joy, but this is not what I had in mind. This is not how I thought this was going to go. And God brings good from that. But the song even, it's one of the songs that I finished writing it, and I thought, that still ends kind of down.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what I had planned. And I feel like we bring it up on the songs after this. But this one is called Not What I'd Planned. And it's designed to be sung. I actually thought of, and in the musical last year, my daughter, Michaela, did sing it, along with Bryce Hatton, a talented vocalist from here in Seymour that goes to our church. And they did a wonderful job with it last year. Hopefully we'll be able to hear them sing it again sometime. But for the sake of this, we just played it ourselves. So this next song is called Not What I Had Planned. You got any other thoughts on that one, P?
No, I think you summed it up really well.
All right, man. This is Not What I'd Planned.
Faithfully played out my part, believing my love would come take me. I waited so patiently to have my own family. Now you say I'm having your son, and this is not what I had planned. It's not what I wanted, and I don't understand. I won't avoid it, and I'll gladly go where you lead, and trust even though I don't see. But this is not what I had planned. I've tried to do what is right. I followed the path laid before me. This turmoil I'm feeling inside has left my heart searching and wandering. And I leave her quietly, but you sent this dream to me and asked me to care for your child. And this is not what I had planned. It's not what I wanted, and I don't understand. God, I won't avoid it, and I'll gladly go where you lead, and trust even though I don't see. But this is not what I had planned. You call me favored and blessed, but my heart is trembling and shaking. You put my faith to the test, and I know you'll never forsake me. We'll place our hope in your hands, for you have placed your hopes in us. But this is not what I had planned. It's not what I wanted, and I don't understand. God, I won't avoid it, and I'll gladly go where you lead, and trust even though I don't see. But this is not what I had planned. No, this is not what I had planned. No, this is not what I had planned.
Man, I just love the chord progression on that, where you're just slowly walking down. And as a keyboardist, I don't know if it's like this on guitar, but it just fits so conveniently in the fingers. It just feels really natural.
Yeah.
As a progression, and
Funny.
it's just so smooth.
Funny story, though, is when I wrote that, it wasn't like that. Like, when I wrote it, it wasn't first. To be honest, I didn't know that I didn't know if I could play it and sing. And so that was the concern. Like, a big thing for me writing a song is I have to be able to sing it as I play it. And so I didn't start there. I started here. Not the same thing.
No, not nearly.
Not at all. You know?
I mean, like, that's a totally different song right there.
Right.
Like,
right. I mean, you still have the waltz feel.
Yeah.
Like, 1, 2, 3, 1.
yeah. But the reflective
Yeah.
vibe
It's
is
not pensive
totally
at all.
gone.
Right. Like, it's too driving. It doesn't have the same. It's just really soft.
Yeah.
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 And it kind of, to me, it has the feel of, the angel is giving them the news and they're like thinking of it in the back of it. It's like music that I would expect in a movie when you're like thinking about this and you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
I really don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is what's best for the team. This is what's best for everybody involved. And so if this is what is needed, then this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. The vibe there, it almost reminds me of the couple times in Luke where he says Mary took all these things, then she pondered them in her heart.
Yeah.
It's ponderous.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the thought that I was, in the movement being in sync, because it's kind of, in my mind, it's kind of a dance, right? Between
Oh, yeah.
Mary and Joseph.
Yeah,
Like there's this dance, and then when you hear the song, when you hear me sing it, first of all, that was not my best performance of the song. But when you hear it with a young lady's voice and a young man's voice, and the repartee of the back and forth of her saying, hey, this was my plan, and this wasn't it. And then him saying, hey, this was my plan, and this wasn't it. When you get to the bridge, it actually splits the lines.
Yeah.
So she starts, you call me favored and blessed, but my heart's trembling and shaking. And then it switches over to him again. You've put my faith to the test, but I know you'll never forsake me. Then together we'll put our hope in your hands, for you have placed your hopes in ours. And that's the culmination of the song. We'll do this because if you're going to trust us with the hopes of the world, not easy, doesn't feel awesome, but I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And I hope, my hope with the musical is that people would come to the back end of that and they'd feel like that for us too. Sometimes God calls us to things and we're like, no, nope, I don't want to do that. And kind of like with us with the musical. No, I don't want to do that. And God's like, no, this is a hard thing, but you can handle it because I'm going to do it with you. And you can face this. And, in some ways it's kind of prophetic for right now, isn't it? It's hard. No, none of us planned this. The reality of the COVID world and the year we've had, this is not what we had planned. It's not what we wanted. But the question for us is, are we going to trust that God is moving and working in the midst of it and that he has a plan? Do we trust that we're still favored and blessed, even though our hearts are trembling and shaking? Do we trust that even though he's putting our faith to the test, that he'll never forsake us? Because as the church, we have the hope of the world in our hands.
Yeah.
The gospel is the hope of the world. The Jesus of the gospel is the hope of the world. And if that's the case, we have a mission. And so whatever, come what may, we've got to keep our priority and perspective right.
Yeah.
And say that, not what I planned, not what I wanted, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's necessary. So that, not what I planned. That probably, maybe my favorite song in the musical. I definitely think it's the one I like playing most.
Yeah.
I really.
You're not supposed to have a favorite kid.
But that might be
But
my favorite
that
kid.
might be,
Yeah. Which is interesting because the two songs I don't sing and never was going to sing in the musical are probably my favorite. That one and the Song of Simeon. Anyways, so the next song that we're going to look at is actually a playoff of a traditional song. The Three Wise Men, We Three Kings, We Three Kings of Orient are. It's got this really slow, boom,
Plodding.
choo, boom, choo, choo, boom, choo. Very, very Arabian-ish, camels moving at a snail's pace. And I was thinking, we need a modern adaptation of that. If I know that there's a star out there and that if I follow that star, that I'm going to come and see something amazing, I'm going to want to get there.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I have never been on a trip where I'm like, man, I just wish this would take longer.
Never.
I just wish this would take longer.
We there yet?
Yeah, that's right. Are we there yet? Exactly. I feel like that sometimes with that song. You know, are we there yet? Like, how does this song have another verse?
Right.
Not trying to hate on it. Good song. But at the same time, I was like, you know, what if we did a modern take on that and we gave it like a Willie Nelson, on the road again? Just can't wait to get on the road again. And so that was kind of what was on my mind. When I thought, and I actually I pay homage to that song in the chorus. You can hear it when we come down. Walking, chasing down the light. Keep on walking, chasing down the light.
Yeah.
You know, it's got that. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Yeah.
It's that line.
Absolutely.
You know. And so we started there. Actually, we started with the Woos. You know, because my big thing was we couldn't do We Three Kings without the whoa. And so that's actually where I started with that song, was with the Woos, you know? Whoa, whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, 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 oh. That's where the song started.
Yeah.
It was just the Woos. I started with that whole, I actually would play through, you know, We Three Kings and would get to the Woos, and I would say, hold on, fellas, if this is the song that's going to determine our tempo, we're never going to get there. Let's speed it up a little bit. And then I would go into the Woos. This is Michaela's favorite song, I think, in the musical. She likes the feel of it. And I think, you know, we think of the three kings, the three wise men, and the song has a great three-person harmony that'll be missing in the recording tonight, but you can hear that in the recording that we did, or the edition we did in the sanctuary. You can really hear it with the choir and with you, me, and Michaela. The three parts are really pronounced, and you know, three kings. And I will be honest, I made it more modern, and it's the song is called "Chasing Down the Light," the Ballad of the Magi. And I specifically called them the Magi rather than the wise men to make it gender neutral. Because I believe that in the modern era, we need to understand that anyone can be a wise person, right? And that wisdom is seen by doing what the Magi did, which is taking the information we know and chasing the light of the world. Not just the star in heaven, because that's not what they were chasing. They were chasing the baby in the manger, the new king, right? The star was just the road sign to lead them to the true light of the world. And when they got there, they worshiped. And I think that today that there are, you know, we saw the star the other night, the Christmas star, and we're reminded that we should consistently be chasing the light. We should be consistently chasing Jesus and being ready to kneel at his feet. And Magi, wise women and men down through the centuries have been chasing the light, and may we do the same thing. You know, may we pursue Christ, the light of light. That's what this Christmas season is truly about. There is no Christmas without Christ. No, there's a holiday. There's a seasonal gathering, but there literally is no Christmas without Christ. Yeah. And the song is all about chasing that Christ of the Christmas and being like the wise men and chasing down the light.
Chasing down the light.
It's been said one day that a king was coming down to take his place on David's throne. And there's a bright star rising out there in the eastern sky. While it shines, we will follow where it goes. While it shines, we will follow where it goes. Oh, 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 oh. The road before is long and we don't know where it leads, but we walk by faith and not by sight. Though the night should fall and there's darkness all around, we'll keep walking and chasing down the light.
Man, I love that shotgun snare going into the choruses.
That came out really well. I like that. I like that a lot. That's probably the most fun song in
By
the
far.
musical.
By far.
But the next song that we're going to do is actually the first song that was written.
Song that started it all.
The song that started it all. And it actually comes from really humble beginnings, right? This song, the next song that we're going to do is called Sweet Baby Jesus. And I was looking at the music on the song select that we put on, and we have it down as being copyrighted 2013. And that maybe that's when I sent it in. But I think I actually wrote it in like 2007 or 2008, right? Because we were both in North Webster at the time. And you know how we can find out what the date of the song was? You know how we can find out what the actual copyright of the date of the song was? Is when did Talladega Nights come out?
Right. Yeah.
The true story behind the song is that we had a friend. We still have a friend. We have a friend. She may actually be watching. Her name is Ginger Packer. And Ginger is a nurse in northern Indiana. She was on our worship team at North Webster United Methodist Church, Crossfire, and great alto voice. Great alto voice.
One of the best choir nerds I've ever had.
Just an amazing person, too, though. Just fun to be around. And so Talladega Nights had been out, and in the song, or in the movie, Ricky Bobby, the title character, he consistently is praying to Dear Baby Jesus. And Ginger, at one Christmas season, was like, well, bet you couldn't write a Christmas song about, you should, but you bet you couldn't write a song about Sweet Baby Jesus. And I was like, challenge accepted. And so I sat down and I wrote this song. And at first it was kind of like a, ha-ha funny thing. And then we started playing it one Thursday night for a Crossfire rehearsal. And Nathan's like, yeah, we need to do that on Sunday. We need to do that on Sunday. And so we did. And so Sweet Baby Jesus was the first Christmas song that I ever wrote way back then. And I say that because as much as I love Christmas, I never thought about writing more Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Like it never crossed my mind. Like the Sweet Baby Jesus kind of encapsulates the whole of Christmas. The whole narrative is kind of woven into the Sweet Baby Jesus song. And so I just was done. that was it. At the time we were playing a lot of rock music. Consider was playing and doing a lot of shows, and I was looking at doing more performance songs, and just never thought about coming back and writing more. But this is the granddaddy, right? This is the one from which they were all birthed, Sweet Baby Jesus. And it really does focus on Christ in the manger. And I always love the preachers that talk about going from the cradle to the cross. And I love that connection. That the cradle, the manger, only matters because Christ grows up and he goes to the cross on our behalf. And the tension of that. There's another song in the musical that we, again, won't play tonight called The Sacrifice that just has that, that tension of, hey, you've got this wonderful, beautiful baby, innocent, sweet child in the manger, and he's going to grow up and he's going to be sacrificed on a cross. I mean, the horror of that. And to talk about that in the Christmas, but that's at the center of the Christmas story,
right?
And so we touch on that in Sweet Baby Jesus, and the poignant part of the song is where we talk about that here we have this baby in the manger who's a king announced by angels, and he's the creator of all creation, made man, made delicate, made made vulnerable. And that ultimately he came specifically for the specific. The cross wasn't an accident, right? It was intentional. That Christ came and was a baby in the manger with the full intent that he would grow up and one day die on the cross for us, which is what makes the baby in the manger so miraculous. Yeah, it's miraculous that he was born of a virgin. Yeah, the angels are miraculous. Yeah, it's cool that wise men followed a star or a sign in the heavens to find him. It's cool the angels announced to shepherds, but what makes it all matter 2,000 years later is that that baby in the manger did grow up, did live a perfect life, performed many miracles, and we have a whole book that recounts it. And ultimately, with all of the power of God within him, he freely gave up his life to make right what we made wrong at the beginning of creation. And I still love this song, Sweet Baby Jesus, and it's really soft and flowing in the middle. The most pointed moment of the musical for me last year was when Michaela, playing Mary at the end of the sacrifice, sang "Sweet Baby Jesus." Because in the sacrifice, I talk about that Mary sings a lullaby to baby Jesus, and that song is really in a minor type key sacrifice, and it ends with Michaela on her own, last year, a 16-year-old girl, very close to Mary's age, singing, "Sweet Baby Jesus," and that I can still feel the chills of that moment. That here, thinking about this girl knowing that her heart was going to be pierced, and we're going to talk about that in a minute in Song of Simeon. But singing this song, she knows that this is God's son, but there's no way, and all that Mary, did you know? Yes, Mary knew. Gabriel told her. But there's no way she understood. There's no way she understood. I don't think anyone did. Even to the point when he was on the cross, after he'd said it, I don't think people understood. And certainly, that little girl holding her baby boy had no conception of what was going to happen. But here we are, 2,000 years later, still celebrating Jesus and what he did in coming to earth and dying on the cross. And that's really what this song is all about, is talking about Christ coming to save us and giving up his cradle for a cross. And God becoming man, taking on flesh, taking on vulnerability, in order that he might make right what we'd made wrong. And so this song is called "Sweet Baby Jesus."
Sweet baby Jesus, lying so quietly, lay down your head, close your eyes. The angels are singing, the whole earth repeating a lullaby fit for the King. And all of creation with anticipation is joyfully singing along. For there in the manger lies Christ the Savior alone. Sweet baby Jesus, sweet baby Jesus, sweet baby Jesus, lying so helplessly, creator of all made a man. The star of the morning laid down his glory and came to reclaim what was lost. Sweet baby Jesus, there in the manger, will trade in his bed for a cross. And the death of the Savior will make right a love gone all wrong. Sweet baby Jesus, sweet baby Jesus. Great God of glory, I kneel in your presence. I wonder what gift I could bring. There's nothing I have that could ever repay you, the life that you've given for me. So I lay down my life at your feet. Sweet baby Jesus, sweet baby Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus. Baby Jesus, sweet baby Jesus.
The granddaddy of them all. Well, the last song that we're going to share tonight is actually the last song that was written. And you remember how this one came about?
I don't.
Because it was your fault. Because we had written all the songs, right? Like I wrote this one in November, right? Like it was the 11th hour.
Right. Yeah.
And we had actually had our first rehearsal, I think, with the choir and the band. And I one morning got up and I thought, you know what? I don't think we had 9 songs at the time, and I thought to myself, this is not long enough. This isn't going to do it. And I came to Walmart after I dropped the kids off, and lo and behold, you're there.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yes, now I remember.
So we're at Walmart, and I was like, man, I just don't know. I think that we need another song. And I don't remember exactly what you said to me. But I think you might have, brought up Elizabeth and Mary, and Elizabeth and Zechariah. And some of their stories. And you're like, what about Simeon? And I was like, oh, Simeon. Now, those of you at home listening to us, unless you've heard the musical before or your pastor just talked about it, I bring up Simeon, and you're probably like, who's that? It's actually one of my favorite parts of the Christmas story, and we skip over it because once Jesus is born, we're done with the Christmas narrative, right? Like we'll go on, or in Matthew we'll go on to the wise men, but in Luke, once the shepherds have seen Jesus and they go and Mary's pondering in her heart,
Christmas is over.
Christmas is over, right? Christ has come, we're done. But it carries on, and like within 8 days he has to go, get circumcised, and he's presented at the temple, and it tells us that there in the temple are these 2 older people, Simeon, who was a righteous and devout man. He'd been waiting for God to send his salvation, the consolation of Israel, and he's faithfully been waiting to see this. And God had told him through the Holy Spirit that, hey, you will see the Messiah before you die. And so he's been waiting in the temple for his whole life to see this. And there's another one, Anna, and but we focus on Simeon, and Simeon's waiting there, and he sees Jesus, and he knows. And there's the confirmation that this is the Messiah. And so we had talked about that, and I love that idea of here's this man that waited his whole life to see Jesus. But it wasn't just that he waited his whole life. He lived his whole life in a righteous manner as if God was coming. And so the encouragement to us is that we should do the same. God has come and he's promised us salvation, but we should live in light of that truth. That should be what drives our lives, what moves us as we go through. And we've kind of culminated the musical with this, that it's a prayer. The chorus is a prayer from Simeon to God. Father, let your light shine down. And Father, give us eyes to see. Though life not bring what we had planned, please give us what we need. And so it's like Simeon is the end of the Mary Joseph story, right? That's where it turns happy.
Right.
That Father, God is shining his light, and that makes it worth it. And it's not what we'd planned, but it is exactly, precisely what we need. And this is one of the songs that as I wrote it, it was another one that was really pretty and flowing. And I am just not a good enough guitarist to be able to do both sometimes. And so I was thinking about it, and I had run that day. This is another one in the series of songs while running. And I had come up with the chorus, and then went back and was playing it. But I really wanted to play it. I didn't want to play it straight, and I liked the... Again, really smooth, flowing, pensive, ponderous, like the Mary and Joseph.
Sure.
And it's interesting because we go forward, and at the end of that chapter, which will be on this Sunday, it talks about Mary pondering these things in her heart again, right? Like in verse 51 of Luke 2, it says that his mother treasured these things in her heart. Yeah. So we see it bringing the story together, and that refrain. So like this is where it makes sense now, where he's like, hey, this is the Messiah. Yeah. Like this is like, it's not just some random angel that you've heard. Now I am another person, and people know me. I've been in the temple. I'm Simeon. You've heard me before. God has promised me, and this is it. This is it. It's not what you wanted. It's not what you planned, but it's what you need. Yeah. And I mean, what a great promise, right? That is the promise of Christmas, that God, we think about Christmas, and Christmas, we've made it all about getting what we want, right? Like, I want this for Christmas. This is my Christmas list. I'm going to give my Christmas. And sometimes we treat God as if he's Santa. God, please give me what I want. And God's like, no, I love you too much to give you what you want. Instead, I'm going to give you this, and it's what you need. And, that we'll be like Simeon and be willing to live and wait our whole lives seeking and pursuing not just what we want, but what we know only God can give, and what we need, And that's the song of Simeon. So I wrote this song really wanting to sing it, but got to the end and was like, I can't do this. So Nathan got to sing it. But one of my favorite songs in the musical.
Except I didn't.
You didn't. No, that's
I
right.
Didn't. And it kind of broke my heart because I love the song so much. But I woke up. We'd had our dress rehearsal on Saturday. Everything went fantastically. And then I woke up on Sunday morning and literally had no voice.
No voice.
Like, the range stopped at like half an octave. Like,
and this song,
and that's being generous.
Yeah, and this song is not a half an octave song.
No. So yeah. As we recorded a couple of weeks ago, it was pretty cool for me because I finally got to sing it.
Yeah. Again, one of the better songs I think that I've written, and I think that's one of the cool things. I truly believe that I don't mean to over spiritualize, but that there certainly was a sense of divine inspiration in this, and I don't mean to overstate that, but doing a Christmas musical is clearly not something that I would have chosen to do. It fits in with the theme, right? It's not what I wanted to do. It was certainly not in my plans, but once it started coming together, it just all fit. And, I believe God was speaking to us and through us through this. And it's just a reminder that we need to keep seeking the light, keep seeking the truth. Yeah. Even though we've found Christ, those of us that have found Christ and we have salvation, we're still supposed to keep seeking. We are to continually seek the light of life. And, that salvation may be in our hearts, but we're to continue to grow that and to grow that relationship, understanding that the baby in the manger came as a person that we might have a personal relationship with him. And what good news. That's something worth waiting for. And the good news for us is we don't have to wait. It's there for us now. So may we, chase the light like the wise men. May we be like Simeon and pray for God to open our eyes and allow us to see what only he can show us. And though it may not be what we plan, may we rejoice in the fact that God will always give us what we need. So this is a song of Simeon.
Oh, promised I would see salvation with my own 2 eyes. Now in my arms I hold the promised one. He will shine the light for darkened eyes. He will set the nations free. He'll share the glory of the Father's holy kingdom come. He will bring the world peace. Father, let your light shine down and give us eyes to see. Though life not bring what we had planned, please give us what we need. Lord, give us grace to trust your promise, even when it's out of reach. Give us faith to follow through the doubts of darker days. Help us conquer unbelief. Father, let your light shine down and give us eyes to see. Though life not bring what we had planned, please give us what we need. This precious child will deliver you. He will break your heart as well. The punishment to bring our peace will rest upon his arms. He will conquer death and hell. Father, let your light shine down and give us eyes to see. The light not bring what we had planned. Please give us what we need. Father, let your light shine down and give us eyes to see. Though life not bring what we had planned, please give us what we need. Please give us what we need. Please give us what we need.
Awesome. Well, it's just a little bit of Christmas for you. Our hope is that next year this won't be this,
Yeah.
right? And so we got 12 months to work on cleaning up some things, and our hope is that in 2021 that we have a chance to come together with the choir and possibly bringing in some bell action with our handbells here at the church, and having a grand Christmas celebration. We're glad to be able to share with you in this small way, tell you a little bit of the stories behind some of the songs. If you ever see me running around Seymour and I stop suddenly and I'm talking to my phone, I'm sending Nathan lyrics. But we are truly grateful to the Lord for giving us a chance to do what we do. I just think of all the things that the last 2 years have brought and how close this was to not happening.
Yeah.
And God brought it together. And I think back to you and I in our college dorm room when we were, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kids and had full heads of hair and none on our face or little on our face, talking about, writing music and singing. And I in my mind, it always was on a big stage, right? It was always us on the radio, and that never played out. But you know what? I don't regret it. I'm grateful to be here at First Baptist Church with you, and with Pastor Mike, and with Aaron and with the entire church. And I'm grateful for a church family that last year when we brought up the idea and we took it to them, they were like, yeah, we're game. You know, it didn't go perfectly. Everything wasn't exactly, there are things we have to work through about band and choir together and how we make that work. But, you know, I'm grateful to a church that allowed us to do that and celebrated it. And, you know, who knows what God's going to make of this, you know. We didn't even know it was going to happen a year ago. And
it was not what we had planned.
It was not what we had planned. Apparently was what you planned, but not so much what I had in mind. But it was a fun experience, and I'm grateful that it's there. I'm, you know, in the most humble of ways, proud of what we've produced, and looking forward to. You know, we actually tried to record pieces of it in a Consider album that we were working on last year, and the hope is that at some point, at least my hope, is that at some point in time we'll actually go into a studio and record this in full, the whole musical, and make it available, you know, through the various platforms.
Yeah.
But it was fun, you know. Thanks for pushing me out of my comfort zone, I guess, you know, and letting me send copious amounts of voice messages to you on your day off.
Well, man, I appreciate you being game to the idea, and I'm still just kind of in awe of what the Lord has allowed us to do together, and it just kind of makes me think, man, if He can do this through us, I mean,
yeah,
how much more of an impact can we have? So I'm looking forward to what the future holds.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
And we appreciate you all coming along for the ride tonight.
For sure.
And if you haven't already, drop us a comment. Let us know that you've been watching. And if you wouldn't mind, hit that share button as well. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that this could really help this time of year. To bring some hope and comfort and joy. And so if you'd be willing and open, just hit the share button, and we really appreciate you doing that for us.
Yeah. And we will put the songs out. Perhaps you're thinking, you know what, my friends would love to hear these songs, but I don't want to listen to you talk. Fair. We will try to put the 5 songs up so that you can listen to those and share those as you will. We know they're not perfect, but we feel like we did a pretty good job just for one-shot things there, and we hope you enjoy them. Again, we hope that you have a very Merry Christmas. We want to thank you for joining with us. We want to invite you to come and be with us here at First Baptist Church out in the parking lot. We'll be having a Christmas Eve service as a drive-in tomorrow, doing some of the traditional Christmas songs, maybe not all in a traditional way, but doing some of the fan favorites, Christmas songs that we love, but also reading through the various Christmas readings and doing an Advent lighting of sorts. And so we hope that you'll come and join us for that tomorrow here at 505 Community Drive, Seymour, Indiana. We also want to invite you to be with us here on Sunday for worship. You know, it is the end of the Christmas season, but I've got one more message. And it's not technically part of our Fear Not series, but it's tied to the Christmas account. That's the story right after Simeon and Anna in the temple with Jesus at the temple as a boy, and it does connect to the Christmas story. So, and it's a reminder. Like actually, the title of the message is "Don't Forget." Mm-hmm. So we will have in-person worship available on Sunday. We are in the Orange, and so we hope you'll come and join us either here in person or online. But we invite you to come and be with us. Again, Merry Christmas. We love you all, and we hope to talk to you all real soon. God bless you all.